Hey, Kendrick. Hey, LaTasha. Welcome to the His and Her Money Show.
Hey, you guys.
Hi.
We're
Thanks
excited
for
to have
having
you
us.
guys here. You guys have been rocking with His and Her Money for a long time, and we were so thrilled to get your email about your big news of paying off your debt, and we were excited to get you on here so you can talk about your journey from start to finish. But for those who are meeting you for the first time, can you just say hello to everybody that's tuned in and let them know what you guys are all about?
Sure. I'm LaTasha Callis. We reside in the Houston area and I work in public health. And we've been on this journey. It took us about 22 months to knock out this debt, and I'm excited for us to share what we did. So,
My name is Kendrick. I'm LaTasha's husband. To be more specific, we live in Missouri City, Texas. So we're proud Missouri City folks, which is a greater Houston area. And glad to be here today and look forward to telling our story.
Awesome. So let's dig into your story. Tell everybody how much debt that you guys had. What type of debt was it? You guys paid it off in 22 months? That's insane.
yes. So it was a total of $53,637.60. And it was credit card debt, car loans, and student loan debt. So for our credit cards, it was about 18,500. Auto loan was like 6,300, and then our student loans was almost $29,000.
Wow. So tell everybody, how did this start? Like, what sparked this journey for you guys?
Yeah, who told you y'all can get out of debt in the first place, huh?
My wife told me.
So honestly, we were kind of talking about it, like, how did this kind of get started? So there was a firm start, but even before then, his mom passed away in June of 2016. And he had co-signed for the car that she was driving. So when she passed away, of course, we had to take over that car payment. And that was $485. And we paid it for 18 months, actually. And so we often talk about the fact that, wow, a lot of people, if they just had a $500 payment that spurred up, would really be struggling to figure out what to do. But for a long time, we had been living below our means. But that didn't mean that we were being good stewards of the rest of that money. It was just kind of in and out, in and out, in and out. And so after we made that last payment in December of 2017, in January of 2018, a coworker of mine that is, we have like a brother-sister relationship, we tease each other, we get on each other a lot, and we try to encourage one another. But he had found Dave Ramsey and just really started talking about this debt-free journey. And I'm, as the big sis, always felt like I was giving him sound financial advice, only to find out that he had discovered this debt-free journey and was like rocking and rolling. So we started a challenge to see who could pay off the most debt and at the same time save the most money. So I came to Kendrick and was like, hey, me and this person have this challenge at work. I'm the big sis. I got to show them how it's done. Are you in?
I was in. I will be honest. I was in because I'm very supportive of my wife, but I kind of blew it off. Like, okay, yeah, we'll do it, and I'll let you lead the way. I'll let you take charge, and you just let me know what's going on. But she said something that clicked with me, that made me want to join in full force, and that was that, that if you're looking for a pay raise, once we pay off this debt, we're actually clearing up 56,000 or whatever that number was, and if we're not spending that money, that's extra money coming in. So that's actually a pay raise. You actually give yourself a pay raise when you pay off debt. And those were words to my ears. And ever since she gave me that eye opener, I was on board and I was asking her questions, and I let her lead the way because she is the brains behind the operation. But that was what stuck with me and made me come on board 100%.
So, LaTasha, it sounds like you spoke the message in a language that your husband could understand. Can you talk? Was that intentional? Was it just, you just presented it and and Kendrick locked in on it, or did you put some thought in behind how to make sure that your husband understood and was able to get on the same page?
Yeah, so not to say that he's not usually supportive, but I knew that if I had just come to him and said, "Hey, we're going to cut back, we're going to rethink how we pay our bills, what we spend our money on," that it might have given him some pause. But I did think about what would be the best way to sort of entice him into getting on board sooner rather than later with this. And as I looked at how much, the first thing that we did really was write out all of our debts. And that included what the minimum payments were, that we were paying on. And when I looked at just the minimum payments, what that would free up to us, it dawned on me that it was a pay raise. And I'm like, who wouldn't want to pay a raise? A free pay raise at that. I mean, it's an easy way to get a pay raise. So I knew that would resonate with him. So I did think about that. And once it clicked to me, I knew that sharing that with him in that way, it would click with him in the same manner. So
Awesome. So that was going to be my next question. What was like the first thing that you guys did to actually jumpstart this? So you all wrote down all your debt, so you were able to look at the numbers. Then what did you do with the numbers?
So we wrote down all of our debts, and the next step was actually to be very clear about what our take home pay was. So we made a list of all of our incomes and made it very clear every month this is what we make. And then after that, we set a budget. But actually, before the budget, we totaled up and did an average. We looked retro back 3 months to determine how we were spending our money. And what we found was we had sort of three main categories: food, gas, and what we've deemed it miscellaneous. So that could be his dry cleaning, a haircut, clothing, shoes. Instead of having categories for each of those things, we just lumped everything into miscellaneous. Once we looked at those averages over those 3 months, the averages were extremely high. And so we cut back and then created a budget and said, okay, are you good with this? I'm good with this amount. I think we can do this. And that as we started walking out that budget, we found that we were able to spend even less. And so we cut that budget back to make it a little more challenging for us, but to the point where it was still comfortable. So once we wrote all of that out and started walking it out, I would say the next serious thing we did was we started trying to cut. So what are some subscriptions that we see recurring that we haven't used in a while, or it's a want, not a need? Or, I mean, I stopped getting my hair done. I'm a curly girl, a natural girl, and I just gave it up altogether. I gave up getting my nails done. I went without my contacts, and I was just like, any extra money that we can find, we're going to find, and we're going to apply it to the debt.
Well, I'll add that when she got in her mind is what we were going to do, she spearheaded and took it on 100%. Even calling some of the companies and asking, hey, can we get a discount on our phone bill? And surprisingly, the phone company,
they cut our monthly bill by $30. Our security cut it by $15, and every little bit added up and it counted. And I was surprised. And honestly, I grew up, my mom would always tell me the worst anybody could tell you is no. And so I was just like, well, if I call, the worst they can say is no. The best they can do is actually give me a discount. And come to find out, just by calling and asking, a lot of companies are willing to give you a discount.
So for a lot of people, what prevents them from making any progress is they have an idea of what they're up against, and so they'd rather just not know. So for you all dug into the numbers of how much debt you had. You all took the time to look at each creditor and total it up. Then you took the time to go back in your spending habits 3 months and look at the information. Both of those exercises can be extremely jarring when you sit there and you do the math and see what has been done. How did you handle first seeing that total amount of debt? How did you handle seeing, like you said, when we were looking at our spending, it was bad? How come you all didn't become discouraged by what you saw? And how did you guys fight through what you saw as maybe being huge or bad and continue to move forward?
I'll start. And honestly, I would say I would attribute the way I felt about it. At the beginning, I honestly felt some shame and disappointment. And I was kind of beating myself up a little bit. And both of us, like, man, we've had all of these years of living below our means, and we've had this excess that we've just been frivolously spending. And we could have been out of debt had we known better. You know, when you know better, you do better. Had we known better, we could have been out of debt. But I had to kind of stop myself and, you know, realize that's in the past. But I would attribute the way that we kind of came together and decided that this is doable to shows like yours. You know, I was watching a lot of Dave Ramsey at the recommendation of my coworker, and I really don't know how. I guess in the recommendations in YouTube, y'all popped up, and from then I was hooked, and I just watched all of the YouTube videos. And then I'm assuming in one of the videos you reference your podcast, and I didn't care if it was the same, you know, things that I watched on video. I was like, okay, I'm gonna watch the video at home, listen to the podcast in the car. And so listening to other people share their stories about what they did, how they did it, of course, that was like, well, shoot, if they can do it, then we can do it. You know, it looks overwhelming at the beginning, but I know that we can tackle this if we have a plan. And then the next key is sticking to the plan.
And I would add that I always kept the end in mind. Like I said, my motivation was once the debt's paid off, it's essentially a pay raise. So with that in mind, it makes it easier. Well, you come up with the plan. Once you have a plan, once you have the end goal and you have the plan, it makes it easier to stick to the plan if you stay focused on the end goal, which was, hey, the pay raise at the end of this is going to be the pay raise. I think for me, 56,000 didn't sound like that much of a debt. It didn't sound like a huge number, something that was insurmountable, especially like she said, listening to your show, listening to Dave Ramsey, and hearing other stories of people that are in tremendous amount of debt. And beforehand, I wouldn't say we're sound financially because we had debt, so we weren't 100% sound financially. However, we had a good foundation. We never spent more than what our pay was. We didn't try to live and have flashy things to impress our coworkers or our neighbors or anything like that. We always did us and focused on what we had as a family. We just needed to tighten up around those edges. And so, like I said, having the good financial foundation, having the end goal in mind is what kept us, you know, along this journey, to not get discouraged and to know that eventually we're going to get there. And we had some hiccups along the way, but even with those hiccups, we still stayed focused with the end in mind.
And if I just want to toot his horn a little bit, because I, by nature, am definitely the spender in this relationship, and he is absolutely the frugal one. And when we first met, I tell this story, and I'm sorry if you don't like it, but when we first met, our first date was he got free tickets to go to a movie. No, actually, our first date was at a restaurant. And our second date was free tickets to go to a movie. And then our third date, I was like, yeah, well, what restaurant are we going to? And I don't remember how he worded it, but in some way he said, I don't know how you operate, but I don't go spending my money all the time just on dates, like eating out. So we're gonna have to figure something else out. And I respected that. I liked him, and I'm like, you know what? I mean, he's right, because ultimately, even in the courting stage, if this is someone that I can foresee myself being in a long-term relationship, being married later on, why would I want him to spend all his money right when we're dating? Because I have the end goal in mind. So when he said that, I was like, okay, this is a different kind of guy. Like, he's a little different from what I'm used to. And then at like a couple of months later, I was with him, and I was crying, and I was just saying, like, man, I can't keep any money. I don't know. It's like at the end of the month, I only have like $20 left, and I don't know what's going on. And he asked for permission to look at my account, which I said yes. He looked at my account. He did some tallying up, and he was just like, well, here's your problem. You spent all your money on food. And when you make this much money, there's no reason that you should be left with this much. Here's this book. I want you to read it. And it was The Richest Man in Babylon. So I attribute a lot to him. But once we got married, it seems like we just kind of, we felt like, oh, we're living below our means, so we're good. But I mean, we still had $18,000 in credit card debt and student loans and a car loan. So I just want to say I'm definitely the spender. He's the frugal one. And he had to kind of put the bug in my ear years before. And then once I discovered this debt-free journey, I feel like everything kind of came together and we started tackling it. So.
Love it. Well, that's a good book, by the way. So good choice that you gave her. I like how you guys mentioned that you guys were living below your means. There's so many people that are living below their means. And a lot of times the people that are not living below their means obviously probably assume that those that are living below their means has their money all together. Maybe they're debt free. But I love the fact that you guys were not spending your max, but you still found ways that, hey, we can cut back and we can't end up paying off this debt.
Everyone knows why life insurance is important, but many of us choose to ignore the reality of what would happen if we were to die suddenly without proper protection. The results could be devastating for your surviving family members, leaving them with a large bill for your final expenses, or even worse, loss of the family home because they can no longer cover the mortgage.
Term life insurance gives you peace of mind at a price you can afford. Term life insurance allows you to meet your financial obligations today while still protecting your family's future tomorrow.
If you don't currently have a life insurance policy, you are not alone. According to Life Insurance Statistics and Facts, which is a report put out by the life insurance industry, about 43% of the population don't own a life insurance policy in any amount.
Wow. Buying life insurance doesn't have to be complicated. Legal & General America make it easy for you to protect your family's financial future.
As one of the nation's leaders in low-cost, high-quality life insurance to over 1.3 million families, they know how to protect you.
Legal & General America makes understanding and applying for life insurance easy. You can get a free quote by going to hisandhermoney.com/LGA. The links are also in the description box below. So what were some of the other things that you guys did? I know that you guys cut some expenses. What were some of the other things that you guys did to knock out this debt? Because 22 months is amazing. Like over $50,000 in 22 months, that's incredible.
Y'all were
so you all were very, very
with a
dedicated.
big axe.
Yeah, very, very dedicated. So tell us some of the things that you guys did.
So again, I have to say I was inspired by you because I've seen you on Extreme Couponing. You know, everybody knows you for that. So I got into couponing and I feel like there's no way I can ever look back because I don't pay for paper towels. We don't pay for toilet tissue, laundry detergent. We have a 4-month-old now. I don't pay for diapers, wipes. I mean, I just don't pay for it. And that in and of itself gives us a pay raise because that stuff adds up. And so once I discovered that, I mean, to me, that was my sort of side hustle, was to coupon my way into freeing up extra money.
Let's talk about that because you bring up a very good point. Yes, I was on Extreme Couponing. Not a lot of His and Her Money people, fans know that.
Oh my goodness.
I get the messages like, oh my gosh, is that you?
2011.
What I loved about our particular episode was we did it for our birthday. We went out for our birthday and we showed how you can get birthday freebies, right? And so I love that we were always trying to find ways to maximize our money. And I used to coupon, believe it or not, guys, secret, I don't coupon anymore.
Really?
I don't.
Okay.
I probably stopped maybe 5 years ago, probably about 5 years ago, maybe or a little bit less.
Yeah, I mean,
we still
did about a decade worth of couponing
so
to get to that point.
Exactly, to get to that point. But I mean, I definitely use the apps. So I love Fetch Rewards. So make sure that you guys, check that out. We'll put our referral code there because you all can get some points. But I use different ways now to save money when spending. So I'm happy you talked about the couponing because nowadays it's 2020. Couponing has changed from when I was doing it in 2011. It's changed dramatically. Yeah. So talk about some of the ways that you are saving couponing because some people are like, well, I cut out coupons. That's 40 cents that I can save. How are you getting this stuff for free?
Because I want to be clear too. Like it was an essential part of our debt-free
Yes, it was
journey.
too.
We're not doing that today, but we paid a price to get to where we're at today. And so I definitely think you should kind of elaborate on what does it look like Ty said, what does it look like now and how, like, what are resources, like how did you learn, and give some strategy around that?
I am happy to. So I often do this at work. I teach like little side couponing classes, but I exclusively coupon at CVS. And one would think that CVS pharmacy, you know, it's a convenience store. They've kind of upcharged. They've got that built-in markup. But the trick is to shop and coupon at places that give you money. And CVS has an extra care program. And so there are certain deals weekly that if you buy 2 Maybelline cosmetic products, you can get $6 in extra bucks. So the key is I get the Houston Chronicle. I get 2 papers delivered weekly. Every month I pay $12 for those papers. And every month or every week I get inserts in both of those papers. Most of the coupons nowadays allow you to combine or use 2 of the same coupons in one transaction. That's all I need to do my business. And so, for example, if there are 2 Maybelline cosmetic products that I get, they're $5.99 a piece. 2 is $11.98. At CVS, they have a 98% threshold rule. So if it's spend 12, get 6, as long as you get to 98% of that 12, you can get the extra bucks. So I'm at $12. CVS has what they call personalized coupons once you have their app downloaded. So I might have a coupon that says $3 off 12. Well, that brings me down to $9 already. And then there's 2 additional coupons in the paper that are worth $2 a piece, right? So then that brings me down to $5. So I would then use the 3 off 12, my $2 off coupons from Maybelline, and then I'm paying $5, and then I'm getting $6 back. To start though, oftentimes you have to put just a little bit in. So if I were to start, I would say, okay, I'm gonna invest this $5 and I'm gonna get $6 back. That $6 is cash money. I am like stocking my extra bucks. I know when they expire, like, okay, this is money that we have. We need to hurry up and spend it. So then you just roll, and then I end up accumulating. So there are these deals that we call money makers. I might get my total down to $2 and I'm getting $6 or $8 back. So I'm making money on the transaction. So right now I think I have, and I don't do a lot. I do everything in small chunks because you're right, couponing has changed now. So you can't do a huge haul and get all this product. So I have to do smaller transactions. But again, I said I have a 4-month-old. I've been couponing for Enfamil at CVS. She uses the ready-to-feed bottles, which, if you know, they are more expensive than the powder.
Yes, they are.
That's what she likes. And so the regular bottles are $9 at a regular store. I can get it for like $8 and change on the Enfamil website in bulk. At CVS, they sell it for $11.29. I combine $5 off Enfamil checks and personalized coupons from buying it, percentage off coupons because it's regular price. And then I come in the door and I have a posting on like Instagram where it was like, I have bought 1 bottle at $9. I just went to CVS and I got 4 bottles for less than $9. And they gave me $10 back to use in a future transaction. So I'm like, I'm never going to stop couponing because that is the way that we stay afloat and we can free up extra money. So that's just a little taste of.
Thank you.
That's dope.
Thank you for sharing that. So it seems like CVS, I still do it every now and then, like if I have to go get certain things, but CVS is definitely leading the way in that area. So I love that you actually mentioned that they're doing that. And I agree, you do have to start in the beginning, put some of your money up front. But if you're rolling, what I used to do is every time I would make a buck, I wouldn't buy anything else unless I was receiving a buck back. Where most people, they'll probably think, oh, this is free money. Let me just go buy something that's not giving them an extra care buck back. Right. And so the whole idea is that you want to keep it rolling. So thank you for sharing that. And you're absolutely right. Toiletries, paper goods, diapers, formula, like that's the most expensive items and that can really bust your budget. So you guys save so much money in that area that you all were then able to take your cash that you worked for and threw it at the debt. So yeah, kudos to you guys.
So we've been out the game for a little bit, like Ty said. So who are the hot coupon bloggers?
If somebody wants to get into this, where can they go?
Who should they be following?
Absolutely. So For CVS, there's a Facebook group that's CVS Couponing Rocks, which is fantastic. If you're trying to get started and learn about it, you can go through, read what other people are doing. Oftentimes, some of the admins will post deals and tell you what to do if you're getting started. And then Crazy Coupon Lady, if you just want to see, you can click the store that you're trying to coupon at, and they'll have deals laid out for you. Cash Pros and Common Sense, that's me. I can post deals as well to share with people. So those are the main two that I use. It's Crazy Coupon Lady and the CVS Couponing Rocks Facebook group.
Love that.
And what was the name of yours again?
Cash Curls and Common Sense. Well,
Love
Cash
it.
Curls Common Sense.
I don't know why I didn't know that she did this, but go to her site. Go to where she's doing it.
Is it .com?
It's on Instagram.
Okay.
Okay, so your Instagram handle is Cash Curls and Common Sense.
I love it. All right, we'll put everything in the show notes for everybody to check it out. And you all, Facebook has changed the game. I'm a part of some groups as well. And my gosh, it's different ways that you can find to save money, cut costs, and get free items. So love that.
All right, back to the story. All right. This wasn't all smooth sailing. It wasn't a bed of roses. Y'all came up against some obstacles right in the middle of the journey. Talk about the obstacles that you faced and how you didn't let those obstacles stop you.
I'll start with the biggest obstacle was midway, actually not 6 months. Yeah, 6 months after we weren't that far in the journey. And I found myself unemployed. So for a short time, we're living on one salary. However, in the meantime, the interim, I was doing things like Ubering and Lyfting, and I took a part-time job, but it was still a significant decline in the income that I was making when I was full-time employed, while I was out there still trying to get back out in the workforce. So that was one of the major things and we still overcame that. And she'll speak about the other things.
That's huge. I just want to stop and say that.
Yeah.
That is huge.
I glanced over that, but I'm like, no, that was
I lost my job.
That's a big part because so many people think that that's the end of the road for them, and it's not. You all still found ways to bring income into the home. Uber and Lyft, and you picked up a part-time job. What were you doing during your part-time job?
I was working at a golf course. I'm a big golfer, and so
love it.
There was an open position at one of the golf courses I used to go to. And hey, it was in a cart barn, so it wasn't a luxurious position. I was out there cleaning golf carts. I came from higher education. That was my previous job. I was a communications specialist at 2 of the universities here, and I was raised to work, and so there was no shame in my game to get out there and walk those golf carts as I was looking for another position, which did not come as quickly as I liked it. I'm working now. I'm actually working in financial services with Prudential, but it took there was almost a year in between me landing that position. So I had to do what I had to do to bring in income because I knew how important it was to her. That was the thing about it, is that as a couple, as a husband, it was an unfortunate situation that I kind of didn't have much control over, but I knew how much getting out of debt meant to her and this whole process meant to her. So there was no way that I was just going to sit around and sulk or complain and just put in applications and not try to bring in any income. I had to get out there, and like I said, just any way, the most convenient ways was ride sharing, Uber and Lyft, have a car. It did take me a little convincing to do that. Not that much convincing, though. But
he was like, I'm not putting all those miles on my car at first, but
yeah, that was a little drawback. I don't want to wear my car out, put all those miles on my car and driving here and driving there. But like I said, it was, as a husband, being supportive of my wife and being supportive of our family, I knew I had to do what I had to do. So it didn't take long before I got out there. And actually make decent money. And I did it, but before we had our daughter, so I had more free time. So during the daytime, even some evenings, I would go out there and do it. And then also, like I said, the part-time job, still bringing in money, bringing in the income to continue down this journey.
That's awesome. Yeah, we interviewed a couple that were able to pay off their debt riding around and doing Uber. So it definitely works. So thank you for sharing that.
Absolutely. And just speaking about the job that he's currently in, years ago he sold insurance, and he had always said that he wanted to sort of take that next step, get a Series 6 license, and go into financial services. And he was like, honestly, I just think this is the right time to do it. And of course, in the back of my mind, I'm like, this is sales, and we need some steady income, and we need something a little different. Are you sure this is what you want to do? And so it really took us having faith to say, okay, this has been a dream of his for a really long time. When he previously wanted to do it, there were some circumstances that he had to go back home and take care of his mom, so he wasn't able to do it at that time. But now we're like, okay, well, he hasn't gotten anything full time. What's no time like the present? And kudos to him, because that Series 6 is no joke.
It's no joke.
Yeah, he did a lot of studying, and he's still Ubering, and so that's how he's where he is now. So
let me just say something for those that are listening in sales. When we got married, the same thing. Tyler said, Ty, I can never do sales. You go ahead and you do that. I need something steady. But I'm telling you all, sales, the reason why I love sales is because there's no ceiling. You can make as much as you want in most companies, and pay off debt, build wealth, travel, do whatever you need to do. So I'm so happy that you listened to him in that area. And I'm assuming that also helped with some of the debt?
No.
We were up at that time.
Well, no, because when he started, when did you start? It was like September, October of studying for your series?
Yes, 2018.
Of 2018 is when he started, studying, and he was still Ubering. And I have some like other challenges that popped up. So he lost his job in like July. In August, I was diagnosed with a herniated disc and an annular tear in my back. And so I had to get a back procedure. And I had recently changed my insurance. And so I was paying 70% of what that was. So then here's this additional cost. And then in December, I've had so many surgeries on my feet, it's ridiculous. But in December, I ended up having to have a foot surgery. One of my screws that was in my foot had come loose, and it was like trying to pop out my skin. So we had to take care of that. And then in February, we're talking about my 4-month-old, but she definitely surprised us because that was not a part of the plan. It's a blessing. We love her very much, but it was just like all these things. And then February, we found out that we're expecting, and we're like, okay, we still have debt. We're still on this journey. What do we do? And then not too long after that, a few months into it, I found out that my mom was diagnosed with cancer. And so I say all of that to say, I've already said I'm the spender out of us. And I know me, I'm an emotional spender. So if I'm sad, if I'm happy, if I'm depressed, if I'm stressed, if I'm anxious, it's like that is what I go to, at times. And so it was really, really hard to stay focused and be like, okay, yes, this Amazon purchase might make you feel good for this short period of time, but it's going to take away from our larger goals. So we definitely had challenges, and it wasn't until September of 2019 that he actually went on full time with his company. And then like all the way through, we were just so focused. Like, we want to pay this debt off now before she comes. And she was due October 14th. And I think we paid off our debt like October 12th or 13th, and then she was born on the 16th. So we went through some stuff, but we stuck with it. We stuck with it, and we got through it. So
how's the job, Kendrick?
The job is going well.
Going well?
Yes, it is.
Awesome.
I am building up a client base and learning as much as I can learn about the industry, and I'm just having a blast. I really enjoy it. Like my wife said, I was an insurance agent back in maybe 2005, I think it was. It's a small company based out of California. And at the time, I was like, man, I really want to do more than just insurance. Like, I want to be the financial guy. I was young at the time. I really didn't know how to go about doing that. And then like I said, fast forward, I just took it as a godsend. I lost my job in higher ed. I was having a tough time getting back on in higher ed, and I ran across a representative from Prudential at a job fair. He was like, "Hey, this is what we're looking for. You have to get your Series 6, your 63, the life insurance exam." I'm like, man, that's perfect. I came home and I told her, I was like, I think this is a godsend. I think, I finally get an opportunity to do what I wanted to do back in around 2005. So I really want to take advantage of it. So it's a great industry. I think the thing with her, getting back how it relates to debt, is that, yeah, she was skeptical at first. Like, it's a commission-only position, and what if you don't make any money? I said, yeah, but what if I make all the money? Let's not limit ourselves, because that's the whole goal about being a commission salesperson, is that you earn what you produce. And so the challenge is always getting up and getting started. It's a tough industry when you're just starting out, but just like we did with the debt, I have the end in mind. And I know that 1 or 2 years of, struggling, trying to get clients and get a client base may be challenging, but come talk to me 7, 10, 15 years down the road, and then we'll see, was it worth the 2 years of struggling for the 25-year career in the industry? So it's great. I really enjoy it. I like learning and like the people. So I'm just looking forward to see how I progress in this industry.
Awesome. We know that you guys you're gonna do well, because you guys, when you put your mind to something, you both accomplish it. So we don't have any doubt in that area. So walk us through that moment when you guys paid off your last debt payment.
Go ahead. Honestly, I don't remember too much about it, I have to admit. I mean, I remember being excited because, we had a plan. The plan was going to be 24 months to us being completely debt-free, including our house. But then with the job loss and this and that, of course, we're like, all right, I'm a little disappointed, but let's focus on the consumer debt. All right, let's knock this out. And so then when we found out we were expecting, we're like, okay, we're going to get out of this debt before she comes, because we don't want to go back. We want to start fresh and new with her. And so I do remember the excitement just about being debt-free before she was born. But I feel like most of the excitement came that month after, when we didn't have those bills coming in to pay. It was just like, oh, snap, we don't have any more student loan debt, because that was the last one that we tackled, because we used the snowball method. And so that point, the month after paying off our debt, was like, oh my gosh, we don't have any bills left to pay. And it felt fantastic. It felt so amazing.
Well, for me, I was definitely excited, because the last thing we paid off was my student loan. And so along the way, we had like the car note, the credit cards, her car. It was small victories, but those were things that, we were on the way to pay. With my student loan, I graduated college in 2001 with approximately about $38,000, $39,000 in debt. Like I said, I've heard horror stories of people in 60, 70. So along the way, it was always, my mentality was, oh, that student loan, I'll be paying that for the rest of my days. Following the herd mentality. Oh, that student loans, it's not going anywhere. You just pay for it. It'll be okay. It's not going to go away. Everyone has it. I'll give her credit. She was the one who made me realize that you don't have to pay the student loan for the rest of your life. And so from 2001 to 2008, that's 17 years to pay off $30,000, $35,000. And so I was always paying the minimum. There were times in there I put it on forbearance where I wasn't paying anything at all, not aware that even though you don't have to pay the monthly payment, you are still accruing interest. So people who are listening, if you take my advice, if your loans are on forbearance, pay the interest each month, because that's going to still be accruing and balloon that total out. And so just the be free from student loan, be free from something that I thought I would be paying until I was 60 years old. It was, what do you call it? A monkey off my back, a weight off my shoulder, all those euphemisms used for something like that. So I was definitely excited when I paid that last student loan payment off. So kudos to Tasha.
Kudos to you too.
Yeah, both of you all put in the work. So kudos to you all. I mean, you guys have definitely changed your family tree, and you all like put in the work, hard work. So you guys deserve the rewards. So what's next for you guys?
So what's next is this mortgage. So even though we had to change the timeline, it happens in the journey. Things happen, and it's the way you react to it. And so our reaction is, okay, we didn't pay it off when we wanted to, but let's pull ourselves up and figure out what's the next step. So all of our extra money now is going to that. I will say, like, paying off our debt. Again, we weren't expecting to have our bundle of joy, but had we not been on this journey and paid off the debt, then that daycare cost would have been like, where are we going to come up with that money? So it was just perfect timing for all of that. So in essence, it's really just paying off the mortgage, and then Kendrick is big into investing, and so building wealth along with paying off the mortgage.
And so what I'll add to that is that, we're still trying to pay off the mortgage, but also in this journey and coming over now working in financial services, I was my very first client, and we were my very first client. And so during our evaluation, we realized that, hey, we aren't very far along with our retirement. Like, okay, we want to be here. I think she threw out a number, 3.5 million she wants to retire, and then she wants to retire at 62, which she's 39 now. So it's not a whole lot away. Not a long time away, and we're nowhere near $3.5 million. So just aggressively now investing and making sure that we focus on our retirement and putting money away and putting it in the right pockets to make sure that we can maximize our opportunities to grow our wealth.
That's excellent. And all we can say is kudos to you guys.
I don't even know you guys, but I feel like I do.
We are proud of you guys starting the journey, enduring all the obstacles that came along the way, not giving up, staying focused on the end, as you mentioned quite a few times, and crossing that finish line. And we know that it's only a matter of time before you're sitting in a paid off home.
Right.
So guys, congratulations on all that you have accomplished, and thank you for coming on and sharing your journey with us.
Thank you.